Take you back to the last time you bought something you didn't plan to buy. Maybe you were scrolling, you weren't looking for anything, and then something stopped you. Maybe it was an ad, an email, a post, and it described a problem you have so precisely that you actually said out loud, "How did they know that?" And here's the part I want you to notice. From that moment, the buying was easy. You didn't agonize over it. You didn't comparison shop for days or weeks. You didn't go, let me check all the features. You just bought it because it felt like they were reading your mind. Now hold that feeling, because I want to ask you an uncomfortable question. When was the last time you made one of your potential customers feel that way? When was the last time someone landed on your page, read one line and went, "Oh my gosh, that's me"? If you're not sure, that's this episode, because the distance between the page you have right now and that "how did they know" moment, that gap is almost certainly the most expensive thing in your business. And today I'm going to show you exactly what's creating it, why you can't see it on your own, and the one move that closes it. This is Better Days. Let's get into it. Here's the thing I need you to believe before anything else I say today will matter. It is not the best product that wins. It is not the best content library. It is not the most beautiful app. It's not the person who's been doing this the longest or who knows the most. The person who wins every single time is the one who communicates the value of what they have the best. Read that back to yourself, because it's brutal and it's freeing at the same time. It's brutal because it means you can have genuinely the best thing in your category and still lose. We've all seen it. And it's freeing because it means you are one skill away, one skill from a completely different business. Not more content, not a bigger following, not a lower price, a skill, saying the thing that makes a stranger feel understood. And the reason I'm so fired up about this is that I have spent this entire week, call after call after call, watching brilliant people who are genuinely excellent at what they do lose that fight without even knowing they were in it. People with great content, people with engaged audiences, people who are so good at the actual craft, and every one of them is leaving money on the table for the exact same reason. So let me show you what it looks like in the wild, because I guarantee you'll recognize at least one of these moves as something you're doing right now. When conversions are soft, when people aren't buying, or they sign up and bail, or they tell you it's too expensive, there are three things almost everybody reaches for. And I want to talk through them because they all feel productive and none of them touch the actual problem. The first move is make more content, more videos, more programs. The logic there feels airtight. They're not buying because there isn't enough, so I'll just add more. I had a creator this week sitting on over 300 videos, and the post-cancellation survey said not enough content. 300 videos. The issue is never about the amount. It was that nobody could feel what any of it would do for them. More of something people don't understand the value of just gives them more to be confused by. The second move is drop the price, run a sale, add a discount, lower the tier. And look, I'm not anti-sale. I understand discounts. I get the utility. We'll do a whole episode on smart promotions. But when your instinct every time things go quiet is to cut the price, listen to what you're actually saying. You're saying, "I don't think the value is obvious, so let me make it cheaper to lower the risk of being wrong." You're quietly agreeing with the objection. And here's the trap. You can't discount your way out of a value problem you haven't communicated. The price was never the problem, but we'll come back to that because it's a big one. And the third move is pour fuel on it. Run ads, push harder on social, post more, sell more, go live more, get more eyeballs on the exact same page. And this is the most expensive mistake of the three, because if the page doesn't make people feel understood, more traffic isn't going to fix that. It just makes you pay to send more people past the gap. You're not scaling a solution, you're scaling a leak. More content, lower price, more traffic. 3 different moves, and they all share one thing. Not a single one of them changes what you're saying to the person. They all assume the message is fine and that something else is broken, but the message is not fine. And here's why you can't see it. You are describing your product instead of their problem. And there are 2 reasons you're doing it. And you're not doing either one on purpose. The first reason is that you are too close to it. You built this, you know every feature, every category, every video, everything it can do. So when you sit down to describe it, the features are what's loudest in your head. I have 400 classes. I have a community. I post new content every week. I'm a tour level coach. All true, all real. And all of it is the answer to a question your customer didn't ask. They didn't wake up wanting 400 classes. Nobody on earth wakes up thinking, I want 400 classes. And the second reason, the one almost nobody fixes, is that you have never actually asked them. You have an audience, you have a product, and somewhere along the way, you decided this audience needs this product. So you slapped them together and assumed they would click. And sure, some people buy. You're proof of that. But here's the line I really want you to hear, because I said a version of it on 3 different calls this week. You are basing who this is for, what problem they have, and how you describe your solution on conjecture, not evidence, but on a guess. You're guessing what they wake up thinking about, and then writing your headline, your emails, your whole funnel on top of that. And the guess is wrong. Not because you're not smart, but because you are not them and you have never asked them. That's the gap. Now let me show you the 3 places it's costing you money. Beat 1, the feature trap. This is the most common one, and it lives in your headline, the very first line a stranger reads on your website. This week, I looked at a lot of homepages. Let me read you what the top of every page actually said. And I want you to listen for the gap. One said, 4 coaches by coaches. Welcome to blank. And then the brand name. Okay. 4 coaches by coaches. Is that the most valuable thing you could possibly say to a stranger? And welcome? I don't need you to welcome me to a website. I know where I am. I got there. That's 3 words spent telling me something I can already see. Another one, a fantastic Pilates instructor. The page said something like supercharged Pilates, 450 classes, new videos every week. And I asked her, who wakes up thinking about this? Her actual customer is somebody training for a high rocks race. That person doesn't wake up wanting a class count. They wake up thinking, I want to PR my next race, and I really don't want to get injured getting there. That's the thought. But nothing on the page met that thought. One more, a yoga app. The first of its kind in its country, genuinely pretty cool. The headline nailed who it was for, and then the next line said, home in your own rhythm. And I just was like, what does that mean? That's so vague. You were so specific about who, and then you went completely abstract about why it matters. You had the hard part, and then you flinched on the easy part. Now, here's what's actually happening in all 3. The creator knows everything about the product, so the features pour out first. But put yourself in a stranger's chair. They land on the page knowing nothing about you. They give you about 3 seconds. And in those 3 seconds, they're asking one silent question. Why does this matter to me? And if your first line doesn't answer it, they don't argue with you. They don't email you. They just close the tab. And you never even know they were there. The features aren't wrong. They're just second. The features are how you deliver the outcome. But you have to name the outcome first, the thing they actually woke up wanting, or the features have nothing to attach to. Now, number 2, and this is going to reframe something you might have believed for years. The number 1 cancellation reason in this entire industry, across fitness, education, every niche, is too expensive. It shows up on every exit survey, and almost every creator reads that and does the same thing. They assume that that's true, that the price is too high, and then they start thinking about lowering it. But I'm going to tell you what I told a golf membership this week when they showed me that too expensive was their top cancellation reason for a membership priced well below what the value justified. I said, I don't believe it. I don't believe it, because here's what too expensive almost always means. It doesn't mean the price is higher than I can pay. It means the price is higher than the value I can currently feel. And those are very different sentences. The first one's about money. The second one's about your messaging. I worked with another creator this week launching a beautiful platform, and people were starting the free trial and quitting it almost immediately. And the feedback was, it's too expensive. And she said something so sharp. She said, that tells me they don't know the value yet, or they haven't stayed long enough to feel it, which is exactly right. Too expensive was a value problem wearing a price costume. And there was a third one, people signing up for the trial already knowing going in that they couldn't afford it. They decided not to buy before they ever pressed play. Think about what that means. The price wasn't the deal breaker. The value was just never established at the beginning. So here's the reframe. And please write this down. When someone says too expensive, Don't reach for the discount. Ask yourself the harder question. Did I ever actually make them feel what this was worth? Because price is only ever expensive in the absence of value. Price is only ever expensive in the absence of value. The moment someone feels the outcome is worth more than the number stops being the conversation. You don't have a pricing problem. You have a they don't feel it yet problem, and you cannot fix a feeling problem with a coupon. I want to tell you something a little embarrassing about myself because I catch myself doing the exact same thing I'm telling you not to do. So I host some team building stuff at work sometimes in character. I've been Santa. I've hosted trivia as Forrest Gump. Now, I could have just done a Southern accent and winged it, right? I know who Forrest Gump is. I've got the general idea. That's the shortcut, but I didn't. I actually went and rewatched the whole movie and paused it and rewound it and listened to specific segments. I sat there and studied how he actually talked, the rhythm of it, the specific things he would say. And then I did the same thing with a Dr. Phil bit. I watched real Dr. Phil episodes and a comedian who parodies him. I went to the source. And here's the thing. I do a lot of work with AI, and stick with me. I could have fed a transcript into a tool and asked it to give me Forrest Gump's voice in 30 seconds, and it would have given me something fine. B tier, generic. The stuff you get when you ask a machine to imagine the thing instead of going and looking at the actual thing. The ideas I got from sitting with the real source were so much better than anything a shortcut would have handed me, and it wasn't close. And I tell you that because it's the same shortcut you're taking with your business, and I take it too. When you sit down to write your headline from your own head, from what you assume your customer wants, you're doing the lazy version. You're feeding the imagined version of your customer into your own brain and asking it to guess. And if it gives you something fine, B tier, generic, home, in your own rhythm. But the real thing, the actual customer, their actual words, the thing they actually wake up worried about is sitting right there. You just have to go look at it instead of imagining it. That's the whole discipline. Go to the source. Don't guess. So number 3, and this is where it all comes together. There is a gap between what your customer wakes up thinking about and what you actually offer. And here's the part nobody tells you. Bridging that gap is your job, not theirs. So let me make it concrete. The High Rocks athlete wakes up thinking, I want a PR and not get hurt. You have advanced strength Pilates that would genuinely help them do exactly that. But on the page, you wrote 450 classes. So there's this gap. I want a PR over here, 450 classes over there. And you are silently asking the customer to build the bridge themselves, to do the math, to figure out how your feature connects to their dream. Well, they won't do it. They don't have the time and they don't have the patience. They'll glance at the gap, feel the friction, and go find someone who has already built the bridge for them. The best people in every category I work with are not the ones with the best product. That is not a slight on their product. There are just a lot of great products out there, but they're the ones who sell the outcome. The fitness creator who blew up didn't sell a video a day in a community. She sold, will I feel good in my bathing suit at the beach with my family in 2 weeks? The golf brand that's working doesn't sell 300 instructional videos. It sells, stop being so bad at the shot that's been embarrassing you for years. Cure the thing that makes you tense up over the ball. Same product, completely different sentences. One names a feature, one names the thing you wake up thinking about. So here's the standard. Every headline, every email, every sales page, read it back and ask one question. Does this name the thing they wake up thinking about, or does it name the thing I built? If it names what you built, you have not earned the sale yet. You've just described your product to a stranger who's already reaching for the go back button. Okay, so what do you actually do this week? Because I don't want this to be a nice idea you nod at and forget by Thursday. The whole problem is that you're guessing. So the fix is simple to say and uncomfortable to do. Stop guessing and go ask. Specifically, and this is the one move, if you do nothing else, survey the people who are not paying you yet. Not your members, not your super fans in the comments. You already know what they think. They love you. I want you to hear from the people in your audience who have not bought, because they're the ones who can tell you the exact gap your messaging isn't crossing. They'll tell you who they are, what they're actually struggling with, and why they haven't pulled the trigger. And that last one is gold. So keep it simple. A free Google form, a handful of questions about who they are, what they're trying to solve, and what stopped them. Email it if you've got a list. If you live on Instagram, don't drag people off to a form. Use poll, stickers, and open question boxes right there in your stories where they already are. And give them two things so you actually get responses. One, a deadline, a hard one, 72 hours, then it closes. And urgency gets answers. And then number two, an incentive. Enter everyone who responds into a drawing for a free year or a $50 gift card. Small price for some of the most valuable marketing data that you'll get all year. Then, and only then, once you've got their actual words, you do the second part. You take one thing, just one, your homepage headline, and you rewrite it using their language to name the thing they told you they wake up thinking about, not your features, but their problem. If that feels like a lot, here's your pick one. Just run the survey. That's it. That's the whole assignment. You can't honestly rewrite a single word until you know what they actually said. So the survey is the domino. Knock it over this week. Now, I know the gap between run a survey and actually running one is real. What do you ask? How do you word the email so people open it? What's the incentive that works? So I did the work for you. In this week's growth memo, the newsletter, link is in the show notes, I'm putting the entire survey kit, the exact questions to ask the non-buyers, the email template, word for word, the deadline and incentive structure that gets the best response rate. You copy it, you tweak the details for your business, and you send it, and that's it. If this episode hit a nerve, that's where you go next. Grab the kit, run the survey, and come tell me what you find, because I promise you the answers are going to be different from what's in your head right now. They always are. Now, here's what I want you to walk away with. You are not losing because your product isn't good enough. I believe your product is good. That was never the problem. You're losing because you're describing what you built to people who are quietly asking, why does this matter to me? And you're answering a question they never asked in words you chose from inside your own head. Your customer is out there, wide awake, thinking about a problem. They've told you what it is, or they will the second that you ask. And the day your words finally match the things they wake up thinking about, that's the day a stranger reads your first line and goes, how'd they know that? That's the whole game. Stop guessing, go ask, and then say it back to them in their own words. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you in the next one.